China has slammed Washington for politicizing the COVID-19 pandemic. It says it's narrow-minded to claim Beijing is vying for global leadership by giving virus assistance to other countries.
这些政客或者是出于国内政治需要，试图转移视线、推卸责任，或者是出于意识形态的偏见，指责中国造谣抹黑。这样的图谋是不能得逞的。
The comments came as China's top political advisory body began the country's annual political session. What's known as the two sessions had to be delayed by 2 months because of the pandemic. But now the legislature will finally convene on Friday. Olivia Xiong reports.
The shadow of COVID-19 looms large as thousands of delegates attend China's parliament sessions in Beijing this week. Even as China signals it has brought the outbreak under control, the pandemic's economic impact is rippling through the country. China's GDP contracted by an unprecedented 6.8% in the first quarter of this year, the first recorded contraction in the country since the late 1970s. And when Chinese Premier Li Keqiang delivers the government work report on Friday, experts say the usually anticipated GDP growth target figure is likely to be missing this year.
I don't think we're going to get a numerical target this year. Given the extreme headwinds facing the domestic economy and also the dire situation of the external economy, the collapse in export demand, I think China is going to be a bit more realistic. Instead of a numerical figure, we're going to get more of a qualitative number. So something along the lines of keeping growth within a reasonable range. If they did set a numerical figure for this year, it would mean that the sort of the stimulus needed to reach that target would have a real danger for China's long-term financial stability and its long-term growth rate.
Last year, China's economy grew by 6.1%, the lowest annual growth rate in 29 years. Now, with the economy pummeled by COVID-19, a mounting concern is rising unemployment, with the situation expected to be worse than the 2008 financial crisis. The Economist Intelligence Unit estimates that China's unemployment rate may hit 10% this year, with an additional 22 million urban workers losing their jobs.
Unemployment has long been considered equivalent to social stability, and we know that social stability is the #1 priority for Chinese government. In the past 40 years, the biggest worry for them actually was just maintaining the growth, keep the growth high and everybody's happy. And this year is probably the first year that many people will see the decline in their wage and contraction of their household wealth. And that's new for many people, and a lot of them have mortgages.
With China's GDP growth forecast to come in at 1 to 2% this year, the country is unlikely to meet its 2020 goal of doubling its GDP from its 2010 level, even if the economy stages a recovery in the second half of this year.
I think there will be a lot of talks on strengthening the role of state-owned enterprise, the state sector, the public sector, to absorb those additional unemployed people.
But in spite of its challenges, experts say China is likely to strike a confident tone as it tries to position itself as a global leader, especially as ties with the United States plunge to its lowest levels in decades.
There's a lot of internal political pressure from the employment factor we mentioned, but also a rising wave of anti-China sentiment, particularly in the US, but also across the world and in some sort of typical Belt and Road allies that China would normally count on for support. So with this sort of economic and political pressure, Beijing really needs to deliver a strong, confident, boosting message to the people of China.
But while China may have reopened for business within its borders, its recovery remains fragile, and any escalation in tensions with the US could derail its tentative recovery, especially if the trade truce between the two countries, signed in January, falls apart. So this is what Chinese leaders will be keeping an eye on, even as they deliver their prepared speeches for their domestic audience in the coming days. Olivia Xiong, CNA.